Welcome to today's news discussion. I'm Claire.
And I'm Alan. We'll be covering several key stories involving international tensions and government changes.
Let's start with the news about the UK Defence Secretary.
John Healey has resigned, citing insufficient defense spending plans by the government. What were the specific concerns he raised?
According to the reports, Healey felt that the government's spending plans fell short of what's needed at this time, particularly in the face of growing global threats.
That's quite significant. Was there any specific incident or context that led to his resignation?
The articles suggest that Healey's concerns had been building up, and he ultimately decided to step down as defense secretary to highlight the issue.
So what does this mean for the UK government's defense policy?
It indicates a potential rift within the government regarding defense spending priorities. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is likely to face pressure to revisit the defense budget.
That's an interesting development. How might this affect the UK's military preparedness?
The reporting suggests that Healey believed the current plans would leave the military under-resourced to handle rising threats.
I see. Let's move on to another story.
President Trump has called off planned strikes on Iran, stating that a final peace deal has been approved by top leadership.
That's a sudden change. What were the circumstances surrounding this decision?
The articles indicate that high-level discussions and approval of ceasefire points by Washington, Israel, and other nations played a role in Trump's decision.
And what's the status of this potential deal?
According to Trump, a peace deal is nearly done, although details are yet to be announced.
But isn't there a naval blockade still in place?
Yes, the reporting mentions that the naval blockade will continue until the transaction is finalized.
So how does this development affect the tensions between the U.S. and Iran?
It appears to be a de-escalation, at least for the moment. The cancellation of strikes suggests a willingness to negotiate rather than engage in immediate conflict.
That's a positive sign. Let's discuss another related story.
Actually, before we move to that, I think it's worth noting that the situation with Iran is complex. The U.S. launched fresh strikes just as Iran announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
Right, so it seems like there was a rapid escalation. What exactly happened with the Strait of Hormuz?
Iranian state media announced the closure of the strait to commercial shipping, warning that any vessel attempting to pass through could be targeted.
That's a critical waterway. How did the U.S. respond to Iran's announcement?
The U.S. stated that ships would continue to transit the strait despite Iran's closure declaration.
This is a very volatile situation. Have there been any consequences or casualties reported?
Yes, unfortunately, there have been casualties. 3 Indian seafarers were confirmed dead in a U.S. strike off Oman.
Oh, that's tragic. What were the circumstances of the U.S. strike?
The U.S. military carried out a precision strike on a vessel that failed to follow instructions and was carrying oil from Iran.
I see. How has India responded to this incident?
According to the reports, India summoned the U.S. Deputy Chief of Mission after lodging a strong protest over the strike.
That's not surprising. Let's go back to the story about Trump's nomination for the Director of National Intelligence.
President Trump plans to nominate Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, as Director of National Intelligence.
What background does Jay Clayton have that makes him suitable for this role?
Clayton is a former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman, which gives him a strong financial and legal background.
That's interesting. How does this nomination fit into the current political landscape?
It appears to be part of Trump's efforts to fill key positions, although the Senate will need to confirm the nomination.
So what's next for this nomination?
The president has encouraged the Senate to confirm Jay Clayton as soon as possible.
Let's weave these stories together a bit. The U.S.-Iran tensions seem to be a central theme here. How do the various developments fit into the larger picture?
The stories are interconnected through the theme of international tensions and diplomatic efforts. The U.S.-Iran conflict affects global oil markets and involves multiple countries, including India.
That's a good point. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz, for example, has significant implications for global shipping and energy markets.
Exactly. And the U.S. actions, including the strikes and the naval blockade, are part of a broader strategy to enforce sanctions on Iran.
So how might these developments evolve in the near future?
It's hard to predict, but the situation remains fluid. Diplomatic efforts, such as the potential deal mentioned by Trump, could lead to de-escalation, while continued military actions could escalate tensions further.
That's a good summary. As we wrap up today's discussion, it's clear that these stories are complex and multifaceted.
Indeed, and we'll continue to follow these developments.
Thanks for joining me, Claire.
Thank you, Ellen.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you for listening.